Okay, it is 5:30. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Fernando? All right, let's start this over. It is 5:30. Let's call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Tate,
Present.
Vice Mayor Carrillo,
Present.
Mayor Flores.
Present. We will now go into oral communications. This is the opportunity to address the city council on any matter scheduled for closed session. Unless additional time is authorized by the council, all commentary shall be limited to 3 minutes. Any oral communications before closed session? None. Is there anyone on Zoom?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. We will now move into city council closed session.
Thank you, Your Honor. There are 4 items before the council in closed session. The first, pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiator, agency negotiator John Lawless and Patrice Hildreth, employee organizations, Porterville City Employees Association, Public Safety Support Unit, Management and Confidential Series, Porterville Peace Officer Association, Porterville City Firefighters Association, Fire Officer Series, and all unrepresented management employees. Item 2, Government Code Section 54956.95, liability claim claimant, Cynthia Galvin, agency claimed against City of Porterville. Item 3, Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 3, Council Legal Counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation, 5 cases in which facts are not yet known to potential plaintiff. And item 4, Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 4, Council Legal Counsel, anticipated litigation, initiation of litigation, 1 case. Staff's report.
Thank you. It is 5:32. We will now go into closed session. ready? Are you ready?
You ready?
You ready? Okay.
Still got it, Sarah. Still got it.
It is 6:30. We will reconvene open session and report on reportable action taken in closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item to report on, item A2, claim by Cynthia Galvin on a motion by Vice Mayor Carrillo and seconded by Councilmember Stowe, and a 4-0 vote. That claim was denied. Thank you.
Thank you. Please join and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then remain standing for an invocation or a moment of silence. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there anyone that would like to come forward and lead an invocation?
Lord, we thank you for these council members who give of their time to make decisions for this great city. We just pray you give them wisdom for the matters before them this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. And I'd like a brief moment of silence. The city of Porterville has lost another subtle icon in the community. Our condolences go out to the families and friends of John Orduño. Thank you. You may be seated. We will now go into the presentation.
Thank you, Honor. We have the privilege this evening to recognize one of our outstanding local businesses this evening. So at this time, I'll turn the dais over to Mr. Ridenour.
Thank you, Mr. Lawless, Honorable Council. This time I'd like to welcome up Imperial Ambulance. The City of Porterville is pleased to announce Imperial Ambulance as an outstanding business honoree. Imperial Ambulance was established in 1960 when Mr. Charles Hargis, in partnership with Orville and Hazel Lofton, purchased the ambulance service from the Porterville City Fire Department. The Wilcox family joined the partnership later that year, and both the Lofton and Wilcox families drove the ambulance and attended to the patients. Times have sure changed. Look at the picture up there. Imperial Ambulance is managed by, as you see, Trent Fiore, President of Operations, and Scott Shear, Operations Manager. In 1974, Imperial Ambulance hired the first EMT and purchased a 1974 Dodge Van ambulance and donated their 1958 Pontiac to a city in Mexico. Over the years of service, Imperial has donated over 20 ambulances and several pieces of equipment to charitable organizations. These vehicles and equipment have gone to several cities in Mexico, children's hospital organizations across the world, and most recently an ambulance was donated to a health center in Ghana. Imperial also gives back to the local community. They provide all the ambulance standby services for organizations free of charge for special events, parades, and festivals. Imperial has made numerous charitable donations to nonprofit organizations as well as local schools, sponsors students for FFA, sporting events as well. Imperial also provides funding for scholarships at Porterville College with the Orville and Hazel Lofton Memorial Scholarship and Porterville High School's Partnership Academy in Health Sciences. Most recently, Imperial Ambulance outfitted vehicles specifically for infectious disease transport, which helped them transport over 800 confirmed COVID-19 patients to and from private residences, skilled nursing facilities, and hospitals. They also assigned paramedic and EMT personnel to the Porterville Alternative Care Site 24/7 and partnered with the Sierra View Medical Center for Porterville's vaccine roundup. Trent Fiore, President of Operations, and Scott Shear, Operations Manager, thank their employees who have proven their dedication time and time again by continuing to provide medical care to the community during the toughest times. Mr. Fiore stated that Imperial Ambulance's a family-oriented atmosphere has really made him feel like a part of the company and not just an employee, the family, not just an employee. And when the opportunity presented itself to operate the company, he did not hesitate and wanted to give back to the owners of Imperial for entrusting him with that opportunity and to continue to follow the family legacy. With 45 employees, Imperial current plan is to continue to hire compassionate individuals who are willing to provide emergency and non-emergency medical care to the city of Porterville and surrounding communities. They plan to continue to grow with new locations throughout the city and provide the sole ambulance coverage to the city of Lindsay. Please join us in congratulating this local, family-owned and operated business that's dedicated their efforts to providing a beneficial service to its community with the Outstanding Business Award. Thank you for your time, and thank you for all your efforts, Mr. Fiore and Mr. Shear. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, just real quick. My name's Trent Fiore. I'm the president of operations at Imperial Ambulance. On behalf of the owners, Imperial Ambulance, my compassionate, dedicated employees that we couldn't do this without, thank you very much. We take pride being here in Porterville. I'm a local Portervillian myself. I was born and raised here. My family's here, and we plan on being here for a long time. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I may, Your Honor.
Please.
So I had the privilege to work with these gentlemen very closely when I used to serve as the city representative to the ambulance compliance committee for Tulare County. And I think it'd be beneficial to have them come and do an update at some point in terms of how those coordinated services are occurring in Tulare County. So if I can say that before they slip out the door. All right. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you and congratulations. Thank you all very much. All right. We will now go into oral communications. This is the opportunity to address the council on any matter of interest, whether on the agenda or not. Please address all items not scheduled for public hearing at this time. Unless additional time is authorized by the council, all commentary shall be limited to 3 minutes. Please note that if you are here for the public hearing, item number 15, please hold your comment until that item comes up on the agenda. You will be given the opportunity at that time. And I will go ahead and open it up for the oral communications, and we'll ask that you please state your name and address for the record, if anybody would like to come forward.
Good evening. I'm Christy Martin, and I'm here on behalf of the Porterville Chamber of Commerce. And I just wanted to share a quick update with council on what we've kind of been up to and what we've got coming over the next couple of weeks. I did want to share that we did have our last First Friday coffee with the Valley Adult Day Services. It was a really great turnout, and it was a really great opportunity to be able to learn more about their organization and the services that they provide to the aging community. There were many of us in attendance that we had no idea all of the things that they offered, so it was a really great opportunity for everybody to get to know their organization better. Our next First Friday coffee will be on September 2nd, and it's going to be sponsored by Porterville Pathways program. So we do invite everybody to come join us. It's at Galaxy Theaters from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. the first Friday of every month. We're also going to be having a business after hours combined with a ribbon cutting on August 25th. This is for the elite team who's powered by Legacy Real Estate. And another ribbon cutting with a new member that we just had sign up. This one will be on September 9th at 12 p.m. And this is for Dollop Boutique. So we'll be sending out invitations. It'll be on our social media. So we would love to have as many people come out and support these new businesses as possible and welcome them to the community. We are planning on a business showcase October 12th from 5:30 to 7:30 at Veterans Memorial Building. It'll be a great opportunity for our businesses to come out, showcase their services, their products. We're also going to be doing a food tasting at the event as well, so that our member restaurants can showcase some of their different foods and products as well. And lastly, a save the date for our annual awards ceremony. That's going to be November 18th at 5:30. We are well underway on planning. We've got a really exciting evening planned, some new twist, and we're very excited to bring that to you. So our nominations are going on now. If anybody has, we have Large Business of the Year, Small Business of the Year, Man and Woman of the Year, Youth of the Year, and then Community Service Project of the Year. We are currently holding nominations. Those are on our website, portervillechamber.org, and anybody in the community can nominate. So if you have a business that you think has done exceptionally well, somebody in the community, we please welcome all nominations so that we can recognize these individuals. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward under oral communications?
My name is Greg Meister, and I'm officially a candidate for District 2. And last night we had a great opportunity to look at 3 applicants applying for appointee to District 4, and there were some questions that I would have loved to answer. And so I'm going to go ahead and do so. So you guys asked a question about the physical budget, and I want to say to the city staff, the city manager, I believe they've done a great job putting that together. You know, looking at the $32.7 million that the city raises in taxes, 34% going to police, 15% going to fire, 23% going to parks and leisures, and the rest going to things like legal, administrative, and excuse me, and other things to support the city. And there's some great things going on in our city. One thing that I love to see is our roads being redone. There's $20.3 million going into our roads, which I think is outstanding. $11 million going to a recreational center. That's great for our children, and we are looking forward to that. There was a question about how to create more job opportunity in our city, and something that I believe we can do to create more job opportunity without raising taxes is cut regulations in this city. Make Porterville a more friendly atmosphere to our small businesses and create incentives for our small businesses, and let's cut regulations on our local contractors too. In doing so, this could create more job opportunity. There was a question on the homeless. The homeless is such a difficult scenario. You know, you have mental issues, you have drug issues, and I think for me running for District 2, my main point is to look out for the law-abiding, tax-paying citizens of Porterville. So I believe it's wrong that local businesses have to chase off a homeless person the first thing in the morning and clean up feces. I think it's wrong that our children have to see homeless at their parks and behind their schools and be exposed to them at the parks. I think it's wrong that we have a methadone clinic on East Mill Street, and we're getting the homeless high and turning them back on the streets. There are tough decisions ahead. Something I've been working in the river and doing river cleanup, and something I've come across is a lot of the homeless are not from Porterville. I believe we should put something together where we figure out how many are from Porterville and how many are from outside of town and address it. And these are going to be some really tough decisions ahead of us. Due to my time, I'll stop with that. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward?
Hi, my name is Kirk Williams, and I live here in Porterville, up on Highland, P.O. Box 1507, I guess, address. And I have lived here at least since 1980. I think that's 42 years. So anyway, I'm a good friend of Ed McCurvey's. I've known him for quite a while, and as far as honesty, capability, I mean, he is one of the top guys that I know, and I think clearly last night, out of all the things that were said by everybody, I think Ed is probably the best candidate to be put into the city council because of his qualifications, plus being from Porterville for 50 years. I'm sorry, but I think there should be a rule that somebody that's only been here for less than 5 or 10 years shouldn't even be able to run for city council until they've lived here in the community. Is this thing on? Hello? And I don't think some of the people can hear us when we talk. So maybe that should be addressed to maybe turn it up a little bit. But maybe that ought to be a qualification for people to have lived in the community for at least 5 or 10 years, I'd say. But as far as Ed goes, honorable, capable. He runs the West Coast region for a big, huge company, very successful at everything he turns his hand to that I've seen. And I've talked to him at length. I know him very well. And so I think he's the right man for the job, and I think we should have put him in last night. So I'm urging you, please, let's put him in tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forth?
Howdy, my name is Donnie Zimmerman. My address is 22793 Avenue 32, Ducor. Yes, I am not a resident of Porterville, but my family's lived here for generations. And as I'm driving down to this today, I was looking at the banners, and I thought it was kind of just hit me a little harder today than normal. We have a candidate here that has been here 50 years. He's lived here 50 years. He's raised his family here. Started out as a paper boy, went to high school here. There's only one candidate who went to high school here, junior college here, and raised his family here. I think we owe it to the banners, the people on the banners. We owe it to the people today, and we owe it to the people and the next generations to make the right decision. Councilman Carrillo, I'm asking you to do the right thing. Mayor Flores, I'm asking you to do the right thing. Councilman Stowe, I'm asking you to do the right thing. Councilman Tate, I'm asking you to do the right thing. And I would appreciate you for going through this process. I know it's, I don't know if the word is litigious or not, but I appreciate it, and thank you. Thank you for letting me speak, even though I don't live here in town. Thank you.
Mr. Zimmerman, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Fernanda, do we have anyone on virtually that would like to comment?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, then we will move on to the AB 1234 reports. This is the time for all of the AB 1234 reports required pursuant to Government Code 53232.3. The first one is the Link Committee. Councilmember Tate.
There we go. Okay, I participated in this committee on August 3rd of this month, and this is held the first Wednesday of each month, generally. And so the first thing you do at a meeting is you review the previous minutes or you review the minutes, you approve them, and if you disagree, then you change them, whatever you think needs to be done. So we approved them, and then we got on to new business. Sorry, technical problem. Never did this before. Okay. So we have several staff that tested positive for COVID. And so we had to follow the protocols, and we sterilized everything. We had to pay for hotel rooms and isolate, and the remaining guests stayed with friends and family at the Porterville Women's Shelter. And everything was deep cleaned to protect the environment. We're looking forward to, and we did this last year, we do it every year, there is a winter coat giveaway. It's planned for Wednesday, November 2nd, and we need donations or gently used coats, and those would have to be cleaned. And so last year when we did it, we had all kinds of donations and some purchases because we had some money available for it. And so they had coats, they had scarves, they had hats, they had socks, we had shoes. There was things for children because we have families. There was even things for pets because some of our homeless have their pets. So, and we depend on donations for the majority of that. And I was there for the whole duration for, I think it took us about 8 hours. And then we provided a nice lunch for them. And so that's what's planned this year as well on November 2nd. And then we had our chairperson who stepped down. And so we're looking for someone who wants to take the responsibility of being chair of the group. And the next meeting is going to be September 7th, and it'll be at 3 p.m. And it's usually at this, like I said, the first Wednesday, and it's at 3 o'clock consistently. Thank you.
Councilmember Tate, I have a question because in the report, we know it's staff from the Turning Point, but clarification would be that it is the staff from Turning Point, not the staff from the city?
Right.
I just needed the point of clarification so that members in the council chambers will know to detach that.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We will now go into the Eastern Tulare Groundwater Sustainability Agency report. Mr. Knight. I can't hear you, Mr. Knight. I see your mouth moving, but I don't hear anything. Can't hear.
He's having issues.
There are technical issues. There are technical issues. Thank you. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please proceed.
Okay, thank you, Council. Apologize for the issues here. The Eastern Tulare GSA Board of Directors did meet Thursday, August 4th at 2 o'clock. The meeting was virtual. During that meeting, we approved the board minutes from the July 18th meeting and approved resolution for continued teleconferencing. We did receive a presentation from the Sustainable Agricultural Lands Conservation Group. And out of that presentation, it was directed to circulate that presentation for fallow lands, a process that's going to be running through the county, and it was directed to run that through the stakeholder group. So it'll go through the stakeholder, the executive committee, and then come back to the board for further consideration. And we also took reports from Four Creeks, and as it relates to the resubmittal of comments to DWR on the Eastern Tulare GSA's GSP submittal. So once the GSP was submitted, it returned back to the agency for additional comments or revisions. Those comments were addressed and revisions were completed and resubmitted back to DWR for further review and acceptance. And then there's a public hearing date still in discussion for groundwater extraction fee as it relates to irrigated lands. Four Creeks also provided a report of accounting and invoicing for acreages throughout the Eastern Tulare GSA related to Basin Safe. And then we adjourned to closed session for additional conversation, and the next meeting is scheduled for September 1st at 2 p.m. virtually. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that report. Pleases me just to make this comment that we have a gentleman from Eastern Thule River Groundwater Sustainability Agency in the House. Mr. Rogelio Cadillo is present here this evening. Did council member have any questions of Mr. Knight? No questions? Thank you, Mr. Knight, for your report. We will now move on to the Tulare County Water Commission. Mr. Lawless, Mr. Knight, and I attended the meeting virtually. It was on Monday, August the 8th. There were no public comments. It was the reaffirmation of the resolution to allow teleconferencing for Water Commission meetings. That was unanimously approved in addition to the minutes of May 9th, 2022. We were provided and given a slideshow presentation on sustainable agricultural lands conservation, which was provided by Christina Murillo. We were given the highlight to the SALC opportunities, the Partners California Climate Investments, Department of Conservation, and Strategic Growth Council. The program goals to protect agricultural lands, supporting infill and compact development, contribute to carbon neutrality, support sustainable land management, support coordinated land use planning, a subtle emphasis to encourage with California tribes on land management and stewardship, utilizing traditional ecological knowledge. The definition of agricultural land and use was given. A comment was made by one of the commissioners about the possibility that this program grant would overlap with the Department of Conservation. There could be a potential conflict with that, with what they were already working on, perhaps a better coordination. Again, that was just a comment. The presentation continued with successes of the SALC. From 2014 through 2021, $5.2 million was awarded for 27 planning grants. $291 million was awarded for 142 acquisition grants. Then there was information to the acreage of agricultural lands conserved and the tonnage of emissions avoided. The SALC project types included a definition of planning, acquisition, and capacity grants, which were given. Concluding with the eligible applicants would be counties, cities, nonprofit organizations, California Native American tribes, and the list goes on. The timeline was provided and when the grants would be awarded. The drought and funding project update, staff provided us with executive order updates that through July, the end of July, there are a total of 263 household tanks out in the communities. 5 were recently deployed outside of Exeter on Anderson Road. The county still has bottled water. It is definitely more difficult to acquire and disperse. There is a shortage of pumps for household tanks. Self-help has some, and there's been some discussion. They're working with CSET with regard to swamp coolers for AC replacements. Guidelines have to be approved, and they are working hard for the regulation changes. Legislation update, the committee has not met. Staff provided us the usual updates for the Tulare Kern DAC 2 program, Sigma, SWRGC Administrator Program, with an emphasis that there are 2 commission vacancies for districts 3 and 2, which are both at-large positions. That concludes my report. The next meeting is scheduled for September the 12th, 2022.
May I have a question?
Please.
Just to confirm, the county has bottled water through self-help?
No, they didn't give who it was through, but they
Okay.
just said the shortage of pumps, discussions were with self-help, and the reach out to the county would be with Denise England to find out the status of where they are for the acquisition and the disbursement.
And then same question for swamp cooler assistance through same contact?
It would be CSET. but
CSET.
It would be CSET, but the contact would be to get the information.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The next is the Eagle Mountain Casino relocation meeting of August the 10th. This was a smaller meeting. It included city staff, Eagle Mountain Contractor and Representative, legal counsels, and the chairman and myself. It was just to provide status updates with regard to tertiary treatment, timeline discussions, water conditions, et cetera, and updates would follow in other meetings, but it was very simple and to the point. The next one is also mine, the Tule River ATP plan. We met on August 11th. The purpose of this meeting was to provide the relocation committee members the work in progress of the ATP plan, information I have been reporting out under the AB1234 reports since March. Mr. Ted Smalley, who's the TCAG director, his staff, Sheila Bongier, were assigned, who she is assigned to this plan, Mr. John Lawless and Mr. Jason Reidenauer, who from the city, and I was there in attendance as the TCAG vice chair. We were invited by Tribal Council Member William Garfield, who is the representative of the Tule River Tribe on this committee, to provide the relocation committee with the AT plan information, and in particular, future bike and pedestrian projects. After the meeting concluded, I stayed. I was given a tour of the casino site. It's exciting to see the visual from the original design plans. The work has been done to date and where it is going, and look forward to the opening day. That concludes that report. I've been at meetings all week. The next one is the TCAG, Tulare County Association of Governments. City Manager, Vice Mayor, as a TCAG Public Transit Provider Representative, and I, as a city representative and the Vice Chair, attended in person yesterday. On the transportation consent calendar, there were 2 items of action: to reaffirm the conditions of State Assembly Bill 361 to continue allowing remote attendance in public meetings, and the adoption of resolution to approve the extension of Four Creeks contract to June 30th, 2023. Both items were unanimously approved. The item of information was the Senate Bill 1 competitive program update. Transportation action discussion items, there were only 2 updates, and they were informational items. There was nothing to report from Caltrans for this area. The association consent calendar action items, there were 5. Approval of the June 27, 2022 TCAG board meeting minutes and the minutes of June 23, 2022 Technical Advisory Committee meeting, the local clearinghouse review, Self-Help Enterprises Department of Agriculture Rural Housing Preservation Grant application, the adoption of resolutions to reaffirm consultant selection for Tulare County Regional Transit Agency branding and communications plan, and the approval of the amendment number 2 to the fiscal year 2022-2023 overall work plan. Association action and discussion items. There were 3 items of action. The adoption of the following resolutions: certifying the 2022 Regional Transportation Plan Sustainable Community Strategy Environmental Impact Report, adopting the California Environmental Quality Act findings and statement of overriding considerations for the 2022 RTP SES, and adopting the Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program for the 2022 RTP SES, and the adoption of the 2022 Regional Transportation Plan Sustainable Community Strategy, the 2023 Federal Transportation Improvement Program, and the corresponding air quality conformity analysis, including the adoption of the final Regional Housing Needs Plan. It pleases me to report that these items were unanimously approved by all the Board of Supervisors, City Council representatives, and including the members at large. The legislative update, TCAG lobbyists were present, Mr. Scott Lane and Kevin Eastman of Pace Consultants, who were in the county area. They shared and provided the committee with information and funding projects and grant opportunities in preparation for lobbying and future Washington, D.C. projects that would be taken back at the countywide through TCAG. This concludes my report. I'll just turn to the Vice Mayor. This was her first meeting, and see if she has any comment to make.
Thank you. Yes, I will make one comment. So I was selected by the Council of Cities as the public transit representative to TCAG. So this was my first meeting. I attended in person. And I feel grateful that it was this meeting I was able to attend in Woodlake and experience these two documents, significant plans being approved in my attendance. So received those and able to review them, and looking forward to future meetings.
Well, next meeting is Monday, September the 19th at the Lindsay Wellness Center. That concludes our report. We move on to the Tulare County Regional Transit Agency of August the 15th.
Thank you, Your Honor. That meeting was last night, so I was unable to attend because I was attending the business, important business here for the city. So I'll try to get the update for next meeting.
Well, thank you. Vice Mayor was here too. Thank you very much. We will now go into the reports. This is the time for all committee, commission, board reports, subcommittee reports, and staff informational items, beginning with the city commission and committee meetings. Parks and Leisure Services, they were on summer hiatus. Library and Literacy Commission.
Very happy to be back here after 2 months not, because a lot happened in that 2 months. Hopefully everybody back here has been, and you notice where I'm pointing, has been to the library and seen the smiling faces of our staff. Our library has one benefit that is something I love. When I go to our library, I've always been greeted with smiles. Can't say that about all of them, but I hope everybody has visited. If they haven't, they're negligent in their intelligence. In May, they still had the virtual story times on Facebook. The book club had 13 members, and their book was Educated, a Memoir by Tara Westover. And that virtual book club will continue. The Grab and Go, which is right across the street for books, they gave away 1,939 books. So even though they weren't open yet, we still did a lot. In June, the Park Grab and Go gave away, or checked out, I should say, 1,899 books. And something that I love that our library does, you know, we have a school lunch program for those that go to the programs. And during that time, the number of kids in attendance, each one got a book. So at Santa Fe School, I'm not going to give you the dates. There was one day they gave away 252 books. Los Robles, 82. Olive Street, 200 crafts. Santa Fe, 280 crafts. Los Robles, 67 books. Olive Street School, 169 books. And Santa Fe, again, 229 books. Look at how many books got into the hands of our children. That is so important, because if we don't educate our children, we're in trouble. July, the wonderful, wonderful month. And I want to thank those of you who were there. I had to watch it on Facebook, which was less than satisfactory because I had a conflict. The virtual story time had 378 English and 459 Spanish. And this is where the kids can go on Facebook and participate in songs and games and reading of books. The virtual book club continued, and a summer program back at the library. Yes, I'm not enthusiastic, I'm sorry. Read Beyond the Beaten Path, the summer program that ran from the 1st to the 31st, had 110 in-house signups and 212 signups for book points. This is for the kids. That gave us 322 signups, kids that participated in reading through the summer, and there were 74 prize winners. And if you watch Facebook and you follow our library site, you got to see the pictures of the kids that won. It was wonderful. Lots been going on. Staff, is beginning a pilot bilingual story time, which is held weekly on Thursdays at 10 a.m. in the library. And this is in Richmond, and the first one had 81 attendees. Book bingo went on, you know, anything to get the kids and the public in to read. And they conducted book bingo every Friday from 3 to 4 at the Santa Fe Elementary School. Now, that's what was presented to me, but at the meeting I asked a couple of questions that were important to me, and these are the answers. We got 898 new library cards issued in person. 4,959 books were checked out. And I asked a question that many people don't ask. I wanted to know the staffing. We have 9 full-time and 9 part-time. And during the summer, when the library was being set up, we had interns from the Pathways programs. So not only do we educate through books, but we educate through experience. Those interns every summer are a blessing. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We will now go into, we don't have an Arts Commission. Animal Control Commission, do we have a report from Animal Control? No? Youth Commission, our summer hiatus. Talk? No? We'll now go into staff informational reports.
Thank you, Your Honor. There were 2 informational reports provided, one being an annual program update looking at activity over the last year, fiscal year, in terms of activity and business assistance, both through your regular program as well as through the COVID-19 additional funds that were received. So that report's been provided, as well as your monthly water conservation status report for July, which showed a 21% decrease over the 2013 year. And then cumulatively 25% by Porterville residents. 36 notices of violation were issued and 8 administrative citations. So happy to answer any questions on either of those reports.
Thank you. Does council have any questions with staff reports? No? Okay. See that there are none. We will now go into the consent calendar. All consent calendar items are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these matters unless a request is made, in which event the item will be removed from the consent calendar. All items removed from the consent calendar for further discussion will be heard at the end of scheduled matters. Council, how do you wish to proceed? We have items 1 through 14.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve items 1 through 14.
We have a motion,
Second.
and we have a second. No further discussion? Let's call for the vote, please. Passes unanimous, 4-0. Thank you. We will now move on to the public hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor. We will have one public hearing that's been scheduled for this evening, and that is to consider the formation of Sewer Utility District 457. I'm going to ask Mr. Sanchez to provide the staff report.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lawless, Mayor, members of council. Excuse me. This is a time and place set forth for the public hearing on the formation of the Area 457 Sewer Utility District, which is southeast of the State Route 65 and 190 interchange, which includes Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, Chest Terrace, Cottage Streets, south of Tulare, Poplar Avenue, and north of the Poplar Ditch. Ballot and information materials were distributed on June 30th, 2022 to Area 457 stakeholders. The official end of the ballot process is at the end of tonight's public hearing. Property owners have until then to submit ballots in support or opposition of the formation of the district and the imposition of the assessment. Assessments for the district were determined by the engineering report and accepted by the City Council at its meeting on July 19th, 2022. Pursuant to the notices provided to the property owners, assessments per lot were determined by lot acreage divided by contractor bid plus 10% contingency, bid lateral cost plus 10% contingency, and a $1,590.73 per lot construction management fee, which is 10% of the total bid. The city proposes the following. If the Area 457 Sewer Utility District passes, the property owners receive a one-time assessment calculated using final construction costs or costs based on the city's Exhibit H connection fees, schedule, and lateral costs, whichever is the lesser amount, payable over 30 years, adjusted 3% interest annually, and billed through the Tulare County Assessor's Office beginning December 2023 or December 2024, depending on acceptance of project by the council. At the time of connection, the property owners or a licensed plumbing contractor secures a plumbing permit and abandons the septic tank to county standards. Monthly service charges for sewer begin at time of connection. And property owners who do not want collection of the assessment to occur via the above-mentioned method have until June 30th, 2023 or 2024, depending on the acceptance of the project by the council, to inform the city in writing by signing a decline to participate form once final costs have been calculated. These property owners shall pay connection fees per Exhibit H at the time of connection and the cost of the lateral thereafter. Now, if the Area 457 Utility District fails, the sewer mains and laterals are still installed per plans and specifications, but the property owners wishing to connect to the city's sewer system shall secure a plumbing permit, abandon the existing septic system per county standards, and pay all connection fees based on actual construction costs, adjusted 3% interest annually, or per the city's Exhibit H connection fee schedule and the cost of lateral, whichever is the lesser amount. Due to the number of ballots mailed, it is infeasible to tabulate and announce whether a sewer utility district has been formed or not during the public hearing. Staff recommends that the council direct the city clerk to count and tabulate the votes on August 17th, 2022 at 9 a.m. in the J.C. Coleman Conference Room located in City Hall. The tabulation process is open to the public if there is a desire to attend. The results will be presented to the council at its meeting on September 6, 2022. No assessment may be imposed if a majority protest exists. A majority protest exists if the ballot submitted in opposition exceed the ballot submitted in favor of the assessment. With that, the recommendation of City Council is to open the public hearing, take comments and accept any ballots, and instruct the city clerk to receive all ballots and count said votes tomorrow at the Coleman Conference Room at City Hall at 9 a.m. and report to City Council the outcome of the vote at its meeting on September 6, 2022. I'm available if there are any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, you didn't have any questions right now? Okay, it is 7:18. We will open up the public hearing. This is the time, if you have brought ballots, you can turn them in to the city clerk, or if you'd like to make any comment to this regard, you're more than welcome to make your comments. You'll just need to state your name and address for the record. Did you bring ballots to turn in? Please.
There's a couple more out there.
There's a couple more out there. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Maribel Ceballos, and I live at 926 South Indiana. I was just recently informed about the installation or you know, what is it, updating of the plumbing on Ohio. And so I wasn't basically contacted for my opinion until I basically seen the people work out there. I live on Indiana. My property is connected to the city sewer facing Indiana West, but I literally have a unique or type of property which runs all the way to the back, and Ohio runs in my backyard. So I have, my property faces Ohio East and Ohio West. So I would need 2 laterals to connect to city sewer. So my question is I know that, you know, you're considering, or it's established, the 3%. Is that set? Or because I know that you have loans, you know, for remodeling, for home buying at 1%. Would that be an option for connecting to the city sewer versus, you know, applying it to our property taxes and inquiring that 3% interest?
That would be for staff to respond, if they have that answer. If not, to speak to them directly.
So during the public hearing, what we can do is we can take your comment, and then once the public hearing is closed, then staff can probably address that question if you'd like.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't.
No, that's okay.
No problem. We just don't, typically, we don't do a back and forth during the
No.
public hearing. But with that said, the question can be noted, and then it can be addressed after the public hearing.
We'll ask it once we close it.
So you'll direct me to the.
No, what we'll do is, once we close the public hearing, the question will be directed to staff to answer.
Oh,
If staff doesn't have the answer, then they'll definitely
And if
contact
they
you
don't,
after later.
okay. So just hang on, be seated. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to come forward during the public hearing? Or is there any other ballot that would need to be turned in? For this public hearing, for the sewer
Specific
utility
sewer
district,
district.
for this one? Yeah, okay. Is there anyone, if there are no more for public comment in the audience, do we have any in virtually? Any public comments virtually?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. It is 7:21.
Should we do a last call? Last call for ballots, just make sure
Last call?
that nobody's filling one out or wanting to turn one in late before we close it. Okay. there we go.
Okay. Please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Fabiola Hernandez, and I'm on 1109 South Wisconsin. I just received this package last week, and I have no information about the sewer line. As soon as I receive the package, I make phone calls, and nobody have responded to my phone calls. My water was run off last week because they're working on the road. I call them and ask them what was the reason, and they said because they're working on the road. I believe all of us on either Wisconsin, Indiana, or Ohio, they should call us in advance and let us know, hey, this is gonna happen. We have kids at the house. We have elders at the house. And I was at the moment, I was very angry. I was like, why? Nobody call us. And I believe they should let us know in advance if any changes.
Thank you.
Do you have a ballot you want to turn in? Okay. Oh, okay, then why don't we leave it
Then
open?
we'll wait.
We'll leave it open long enough
Well,
for you to fill
while
it
you're
out.
filling it out.
Yeah.
So what she's saying is that she's connected here, and her property connects, this is Ohio. So she wants to subdivide this, obviously. So this is her property. This is the Ohio. And then she's already connected on Indiana. So
Any more ballots? Okay, now it is 7:24. we will close the public hearing. And going back to Ms. Ceballos' question, you gave her information to contact?
Yes, Mayor, I gave her some contact information to reach out to staff directly to go over the specific situation, to see if it would work for our public utility assistance program. Due to the programs, I'm not sure if they're able to work together, because essentially there's two different funding sources, but we'll evaluate it and see what we can do to help her out.
Thank you. And just a side note question with regard to Ms. Fabiola Hernandez's comment with regard to phone calls and follow up on that.
Maybe, Mr. Sanchez, I don't know why the water would be turned off in a sewer project.
I can speak to that a little bit, City Manager. As it relates to the project going in, there was conflicts with the existing water mains in the area, and anticipated issues with being able to put the sewer main in place. So as the construction crews were moving into the area, we had to go in and actually take the line down so that they could belly the water main, so they would 45 it down, extend it out, and then 45 it back up and reconnect. During that time, the contractor made significant issues to notify the area. We did identify the areas that would be impacted by the outage. And so I can't speak exactly to the address or the issues at hand. I know we had some issues when the water main came back up. There was some backflow conditions that had restricted the flow to the addresses when we restored supply. But the contractor made significant issues. Water staff participated in that as well. My apologies for any inconvenience as it relates to the outage, but we'll continue to improve on communications with the customers.
Thank you very much.
If I could just also,
Please.
the question was raised about the 3%. So this has been a program that was established, and I'm going to ask you for a guesstimate, Mike or Javier, I mean, we've got to be in the vicinity of probably 3,000 connections over, this is the second tranche of projects, 14 million right now. And then we did a 12 million, about 12 to 13 million dollar expansion. So it's about a, $25 million in total over the last, so it's, I want to say it's close to 3,000 connections. Is that fair? I may be overestimating.
That's correct, Mr. Lawless, and of those, 1,200 are currently being assessed.
Right. So the answer to the question about the interest was established when we started the sewer to utility, which at that time was actually interest rates at that time commercially were well over 5%. So 3% was at the time of formation of this program, absent other funding sources. This is the one that was made available to all members of the public. There may be individual income eligibilities that may provide others, but in answer to the reason for 3%, that's how it was developed. At that time, like I said, interest rates were, it was actually sub-market.
Please, go ahead.
Just the staff, Mrs. Hernandez, we're doing the sewer and we're taking, the final votes now, but she said she just received her information. When was those mailed out? Anyone know? Do you?
When were the ballots mailed?
Yeah, the ballots. When was
June
that?
30th, 2022.
And she said she just,
They were all certified mail? Or, we got proof of them.
you had proof of receipt? No?
Well, just standard mail.
It's standard?
Any more questions? I don't have any. Did you have any question? No question.
Just maybe clarification. What date did you say they were mailed again? Sorry.
June 30th.
Okay,
of this
thank you.
year.
I just want to make sure I heard correctly.
And if I may, I just want to add some clarification on the funding and city loan opportunities. If the district assessment passes, because of the funding source, they can only take advantage of the the 30-year program through the assessor's office. And if it fails, then other funding opportunities may become available. But even if they opt out and if it passes, they wouldn't be able to use the city loan process.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. We have closed the public hearing. We've taken the comments, asked the questions, and the recommendation. The city clerk has received the ballots and count the votes.
Yes, Your Honor. The clerk has received the ballots, and if we count the votes, and we accept the results of the ballot.
Right, so there's no
It's
further.
going to come
there's-
back on
Further actions
September the
needed tonight.
6th.
Oh, it's coming
just-
back.
it's
Yeah,
coming back.
so similarly, if you saw in your consent calendar, just your last meeting, you had for a
The
different
ballot
district,
count,
which
yeah.
passed at a very high level.
Oh,
And
so
so similarly, the vote count will occur tomorrow morning in the Coleman Conference Room, open to the public. And then the results of that will be on your consent calendar, either for acceptance, either that it is formed or not formed. So there's no further action needed this evening.
Thank you. All right. We'll now go into the scheduled matters.
Your Honor, there's two scheduled matters. The first is a new Porterville Rescue Mission update. Mr. Ridenhour provides the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Lawless. Honorable Mayor and City Council, at its meeting on June 18, 2019, the City Council adopted Resolution 43-2019 approving a conditional use permit for the new Porterville Rescue Mission to allow for a social services facility located at 30 South A Street. The conditional use permit includes a requirement that staff provide a biannual update to the City Council on the status of the project, which is the purpose of the report this evening. Following the update that was provided to the City Council February 1st of this year, the new Porterville Rescue Mission has received a final on the bathroom remodel on April 11th of this year. The Chief Building Inspector also met with a new Porterville Rescue Mission representative on June 16th to review the exterior ADA requirements to be completed with the next stage of the project. The Code Enforcement Division reported that they had not been issued any notices or any violations since the last update that was provided. Staff's recommendations that City Council consider the report and provide direction as they deem necessary. Thank you, and available for questions.
Thank you. Council, do you have any comment, questions? Councilmember Tate? Councilmember Stowe?
No comments.
Vice Mayor?
Just thank you for the updates, and good news to hear the compliance and moving forward with that. So thank you for the work on that.
It pleases me to see the compliance and that the information without any notices of violation since the last report. That is good. So what is it the council wishes to do? Just proceed as is and bring it back as they have been doing?
Yes, keep providing us with the updates and make sure.
To keep providing the updates as they've been doing?
Yeah, as a condition of the condition, one of the conditions of the conditional use permit is for biannual reporting. So
Okay.
your next report would be January, February timeframe.
That's fine. All right, there's no direction. This is just to provide the report.
As required.
Thank you very much on that. And we will now move on to the next scheduled matter.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next is consideration of appointment to the City Council office representing District 4, vacated by Councilmember Reyes. As a continuation of your deliberations from last evening's interviews before the City Council this evening is the determination and consideration of appointment pursuant to your direction at its meeting on August 2nd. Council asked that it may proceed with considering that appointment this evening. And should the council wish to utilize the McCracken method, we refer to that, or the ballot method. Staff is prepared for that, or simply by motion could also be, or any other process as deemed appropriate by the council.
I'm looking at council. Would you just want the McCracken method or a nomination?
I like to do the McCracken method.
Okay, that's fine.
I would like to do the McCracken method
All
also.
right. Okay, then the McCracken method it is.
With ballots?
Okay. So I'll read each ballot by who it is and who the vote is for. Councilmember Tate has voted for Donald Don Wyrock. Councilmember Carrillo has voted for, Vice Mayor Carrillo has voted for Donald Don Wyrock. Councilmember Stowe has voted for Edward L. McCurvey. And Mayor Flores has voted for Donald Don Wyrock.
So it is 3-1?
Right, so there would, if that's accepting to the council, there would be a motion to accept the ballot and second with action by the
Actually,
council.
so the motion would be to appoint, if the council wants to go with, as they have in the past, it's up to the council. They can make a motion to appoint Mr. Wyrock, given the results of the vote. That's up to you.
All right, council, how do you wish to proceed? To make a motion?
I lost.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Donald Don Wyrock.
Wyrock.
I apologize. To fill the vacant city council office representing District 4 for a term to expire in November 2024.
I second that.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. It passes 4-0. Thank you. All right. It passed unanimous with the 4-0.
Do you want to talk about the logistics of the appointment?
Congratulations, Mr. Wyrock.
The plan's to schedule that for the actual formal appointment for the next
The
meeting,
next
is that
formal
correct?
appointment
Okay.
at the next meeting.
Wanted to clarify that, thanks.
Thank you. All right, we will now go into oral communications. If there's anybody that would like to come forth.
Rock Neely, address on record. I just wanted to fill you in on a little, something that's been going on in water in the state of California. Former LA Mayor Antonio Villagrosa has been appointed as the utility czar for the state of California by the governor. They just launched a desalination plant in Antioch, California, which is going to take the brackish water from the Delta and turn it into potable water for Antioch, so they will no longer be using the water that is supposed to be conveyed down to here for our citizens in ag. So it's a way of helping us by putting in a desalination plant there. There are also 2 other desalination plants on the Coastal and Waterways Committee agenda for the September meeting. Hopefully they will be approved, unlike the one in Huntington Beach that was denied because those Huntington people didn't want a desalination plant in my neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's any, please.
You know me, I'm here every meeting. I just want to tell you, Councilman Tate, Councilman Flores, and Councilman Carrillo, I am so very disappointed in your decision tonight. You do not listen to the people of Porterville or the people in that district that wanted Ed McCurvey to represent them on the city council. You need to start listening to the people or you're going to be put out of office. I promise you that. That will happen. And I can't believe the way you voted tonight. The most qualified was Ed, you know that, and then you vote for somebody else that hasn't even read the city charter, that hasn't even looked at the budget. I'm ashamed. I'm very ashamed of all of you. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Please.
I just want to thank you all for taking the time to consider each and all of us, all three candidates. I know that I'm new to Porterville, and I know that's a turnoff for a lot of people, but we all have to find a home somewhere, and we chose to make Porterville our home. So I hope in the future I will get a warmer reception when I choose to serve this community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Panel, I am very, very disappointed. Ed McCurry stood up here before you, gave a fabulous interview. The qualifications were way beyond what I expected to hear. You could put all the panel members together and you'll never, never reach the status that he has. And I'm very disappointed with your decision. And I'm going to let you know, you're going to hear about it. You're going to hear about it loud and clear. If I'm the only person that objects to this, you're going to hear about it. I can guarantee you that.
Thank you.
Hey, Ed McCurvey. Hi, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to address you guys again. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak before you, to present myself before you. And thank you, Milt, for having confidence in me. I have an excellent resume. You guys heard all that. We have 461 signatures of broad support in this community. We have the case made for the most qualified person. You didn't select me, and it shows clear bias of this body. And, you know, it's really obvious, the bias, and so I hope you guys can reflect on that. And you've made a decision that now is going to change the course of where we're going to go, because there are a lot of folks in this community that feel unrepresented. And I was speaking for a lot of those folks. And we now continue to feel unrepresented and now ignored. And I heard comments from the staff last night about how this is not a popularity contest. And you just made it a popularity contest because you didn't pick the most qualified person. You didn't pick the person that had the longevity in the community. You didn't pick the person that has the experience to do this job and sat in this very dais last year and conducted meetings in this room as a commissioner for this county, District 5. I'm very disappointed in your decision. It shows clear bias on your part, and it just shows your leadership. Your leadership is about selecting who you want on this committee, not the most qualified. And what it says in the charter, it gives you the power to do whatever you want, but you're not listening to the people. And there's 460 people here, and it's growing, that wanted to send me. And your own qualification was that you needed to have people with broad support. I brought broad support. We filled these chambers 2 nights. I brought an excellent interview, and you ignored that. Shame on you for doing that. But it sure does, you know, make me feel good because you gave me the opportunity. But I want to thank you for showing us how biased this body really is. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Tony Mock, I'm not afraid to say my name in public. I respect the process. I'm not going to repeat what Ed said, but I think the facts remain that a qualified person was given. Thank you, Milt, for actually looking at the data I know this isn't a back and forth. I respect your decision in the sense that I respect the process, so I'm not a sore loser. I would just leave you three with the question that you have to answer. You made a decision, and we talk about unity and all that and what's best for the city. It's tough. You guys have a tough position, but you all chose to be there. And I would ask you honestly, and I know you can't answer, but I would ask you if you, because only you know this answer. Did you actually look and try to set a bias aside at what was presented last night? And if you didn't have time, then you have to answer for that. Drink another cup of coffee or something. I realize it's a tough job, but people who go into public service accept the responsibility to go the extra mile. And this is a 2-year and some change appointment. And again, I respect your decision in the sense that only each one of you can make it. I'm not mad at any of you for the decision you made. I'm certainly disappointed from what I would believe would be an intellectual consistency as the most qualified person. And again, I would leave you with the question to think about. Did you really look at the facts? Did you, even if you don't like Ed's face, you don't like that his brother-in-law is the District 5 supervisor, none of that matters to what you laid out as far as what, we talk about listening to the city, we talk about listening to the people, but just on one point alone, the way he laid out the numbers, that tells me he actually read budgets, processes, and just on that one point alone, saving the city money, looking where we can improve a process to save money. Just that one point alone, it just blows my mind that, and I'm sure I think he left, was it Wyrock? Hopefully I could say his name right. I'm sure he has some qualifications, and I'm not here to speak to that, but only you guys can answer the question, did you really look at what was presented? And that would be my challenge. So again, I appreciate your service, and I would hope that going forward, that if you find yourself in front of a decision where you didn't have time to really look, you guys have the power to make an extension. You got a little reprieve yesterday, so thank you again. And Milt, thank you for your vote.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to come forth?
Gail Knuckles, 13144 Road 216, Porterville. I have two items. I'm totally disappointed in what you guys did. We knew you would do it. Because you guys, and everything that the city has that has local on it, you need to take it off, because obviously you don't go by that, because he lived here 50 years, and the other people, not respecting them, but they're not city Porterville. And you guys picked somebody who hasn't even lived here very long. And my second thing is, I understand from the school system that the city's buying 165 or 164 Prospect, and I want to know who I could go to the city to find out what you're going to do with that building. So, can somebody call me what you're going to do with it?
Leave
or-
your information with Mr. Reidenauer with your
All
phone
right.
number.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Comment. I hope that the members of this community will take the time to reach out and introduce themselves to me and get to know me. I have a really big heart. I'm a very kind and generous person, a very giving person, and I'm now a small business owner in this community. And I hope that people will respect that and reach out and let me serve them outside of what I do for a business. I'm definitely looking to serve this community. I hope people will entrust me with that in the future if they would take the time to get to know me. Just wanted to add that. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you for your service.
Josh Flowers, Strathmore. what they said was absolutely right, and you guys followed what you were allowed to do. I never seen anybody work that hard to get an appointment with 461 signatures, actually campaigned in 10 days. Went out, talked to his constituents to be already having the decision made prior to getting here. Thank you for recognizing his talents. The man's willing to serve. It is a popularity contest. That's what elections are about. What you're going to see is that you guys made a decision. And the lack of being able to make a decision last night made me question the ability of being able to make a decision. And then after seeing it come through today, who's really making the decisions for Porterville? So at this point, the decisions have been made. You guys made your decision. We're going to see what happens from here. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to come forth? Do we have anyone on virtually? Oh, please.
Hello, my name is Donald Wyruff from Michael Place. I want to thank the council members for your vote of confidence, and Council Member Stowe, I don't look at your vote as a lack of confidence, but just a difference of opinion on the qualifications. And I know I haven't networked in this county with the people and the commissions that Ed has been working diligently with. I reached out to him during the meetings yesterday. He's a good man. And I think hearing the reactions last night, the applause, and the discouragement of people in the audience tonight tells me that I'm going to have a lot of special advisors helping us be successful, or maybe not. But there's a lot of talk about prayer and the right person being chosen, and I'm not going to go down that path here tonight. I just want to make a statement that I will humbly serve to the best of my ability. Mr. Stowe, I thank you for your long tenure on the council. The staff with the city of Porterville does an awful lot, and their tenure is solid. I liked reading about the agreements with the different unions and the benefits that are coming to the loyal employees of the city. And I think building some tenure at the council level is very important, and you will be missed. I've heard it from a couple of people tonight, and for me personally, I've seen you interviewed by Mark Pitcher and others up there at the church, and you're a good man, and you guys are a great council. It's a great city, and I'll try my best, and I'll look for all the help, and I'll reach out. And like I said last night, if there's a committee or an area where you feel my talents would best serve, please point me in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Any on virtually?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. We will now go into other matters. Councilmember Tate?
I can't say that I'm speechless, but I would like those of you that are left here this evening to know that I spent all weekend going over all of these not interviews, but all of the documentation, the resumes. There were several aspects of it that I considered. I don't know Mr. Kirby personally. I introduced myself to him and shook his hand last night. I went home and I thought about this, and pretty much just stayed home with my husband and my dogs today, and I was looking to what to do as far as the voting, and I had to look at I had to be as objective as I possibly could be. And and I had to think about what I thought would be the best candidate for this position in an objective way. And sometimes you may not realize it because you're not on this side of the dais, but it feels like intimidation. Some of the rhetoric, yeah, I see a violin back there. So some of the rhetoric seems like intimidation. There's been petitions. There's been all kinds of things through the year I've been with the council. And so those things you try to look objectively at the, not just the experience of people, but the heart and the real motives for wanting to be, we don't sit around and drink coffee. We don't have offices. We're not, we're just essentially advocates for the community. We have 5 districts, and I think my district has close to 12,000 people in it. So this representation seems large in this small room, but we have to think about what we think is best for, or how I do it, for the community. I've lived here my whole life. This is my home. That's the reason why I decided to join the council, is because I want what's good for Porterville, because what's good for Porterville is going to be good for me and for other people who live here. So, thank you.
Councilmember Stowe.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wyrock, trust me that it was nothing against you. You are a part of this council now, and I will support you in every way that I can. And I just think this city needs to move forward, and with your help and support, then we'll do that. So, congratulations, and I guess we'll see you up here soon. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. The first thing I just want to say is thank the community members that were willing to take part in this and participate, respond by application and resume, and sit through a long night last night and participate. I'm very happy for the new council member and to have someone seated and help, participate in the committees and govern, which is what we do and up here. And, the only thing that I would say that I'm disappointed in myself is to see the treatment of the other candidates. To me, that hurts my heart, because we're all about the city of Porterville, and we talk about that all the time, whether it be we, meaning everyone in this room and on Zoom and that participates. And it's really hard, and I'm just gonna limit my comments to that, but to see someone's feelings get hurt because they stepped up to try to serve our community that we say we all love, and to be talked about because you wanted somebody else, it's disappointing, because those are still your constituents. And that doesn't show a good sign of how you will treat the rest of them. That's just a feeling that I have, and it's, I didn't like seeing the 2 get talked about when I don't know any of the 3 until last night. I don't know who's related to who until I heard that. And we can't talk about who we're gonna vote for or discuss our vote. So I didn't even know who the other council members are voting for. There is no advocacy going on for anyone, so I just don't want the people to feel disappointed by the process. So, we all made our decisions based on our own. I did study, I listened to all of you closely. I was honestly impressed with all three of you and things that you said. I thought the experience was very in-depth on different levels. I listened to things that were being said, comments, body language, just, the way that you felt about your community, and I didn't see anything necessarily bad. I just felt stronger about one over the other two. So with that, and the only reason I'm explaining that is because, I just don't want the other candidates or anybody in our community to sway away from serving, providing community service on any level. We do have a lot of committees. You don't have to sit on city council to be involved and help. So please don't sway away from being involved in the city in any way. That's all.
Last night, we listened and we heard through 3 exceptional applicants. Each one had something to bring to the table. We listened to community service. When I think of community service, I think of a lot of the nonprofit organizations that are out there, such as Family Health Care, the Central California Crisis Center, Valley Adult Day Services. And then I also start thinking of other jurisdictions who have elected officials, such as the hospital board, such as the school districts, and other governing agencies to that effect. As I listen to the dialogues in the areas of your passions, each individual passion, it was a tough decision. And I understand that. I listened, and what I heard last night in the direction of Mr. Wyrock was humility. That he was the least known person and that he could have gotten names, but he was humble to that. And that he wasn't political. He was just a man who wishes to improve the city. And what was once considered a weakness from a report that we had gotten was the area of the airport. He put an emphasis on a side saying that he said he used the airport. Again, the fact that you have members of the community, I believed he said he lived here 12 years. Well, that's a long time. And you have the one that lived 50 years. And then you have the one that's only been here a few months. Each of the passions of each individual was very strong. And yet I heard about coming together as one in detachments. When we had the Porterville fire and we lost 2 firefighters, this community came together as one. There were no differences. Everybody came to the table. How can we help you? They were there in support of staff, the families. There were no difference. In addition, while this was going on, we still moved forward in making decisions. We still had meetings. We had only canceled the meeting because the day of the fire, we were coming to a city council meeting and everything was up in smoke. And you had the paramedics, you had the firefighters, and you had the ambulances there. We were there as elected officials. I was there firsthand to support the staff, to support what is it that we can do, but a lot of us felt helpless and we moved in different directions. So yes, there is a lot of community involvement. There's a lot of things that can be moving in that direction. Difficult, the decision, again, each one had a strong emphasis of community support Each one had a strong emphasis of prayer. I heard that in each one. But I think that we need to come together and move in direction of positive. And I do understand that we need to move forward. Mr. Wyrock, I look forward to working with you. And that's all I have to say. Mr. Lawless.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple of quick things. First of all, very fortunate to have our firefighters return from the McKinney fire. In fact, between Oak, we had your OES crew out for the full duration between the Oak fire and McKinney coming back. And then, so great to have those back. And it's always been through the fire service assisting other communities when in need. And fortunately, it looks like they're going to be able to get ahead of what's going up on our hill right now. So a couple of upcoming elements. We have a council member that has a birthday this week. On Thursday, council member date. And this coming Saturday night is Porterville Community Night at the Visalia Rawhide. Opportunity for members of our community with the city's sponsorship for any resident of the city of Porterville to attend the game for free in their pasture area. I guess they call it their pasture area. It's a grass area on the first baseline. There'll be some ceremonial activities at the beginning. I think Council Member Stowe might be throwing out the first pitch.
I know he is.
I don't know if any of you know, he's Hall of Fame Sacramento State, so, yeah. And someday he might tell you about when he was drafted by the Oakland A's and his story that comes along with that. So, and how he ended up in Porterville as that. So I've been fortunate to hear that story, and maybe you'll hear it from him someday too. Our mayor providing a salutation to the game, and hopefully Monty Moore as well being there, helping with the first pitch. He might coach or announce the first pitch. So look forward to that this coming Saturday evening, and great opportunity for the city of Porterville to be represented. And then lastly, Ted Williams has a birthday coming up too. And Ted's one of those guys in the background that you well know, but it's the 23rd. So.
Okay, happy birthday. Is yours all month?
But I wanted to bring Ted. I know that there's a lot of support he provides to all of us in the background and around the clock. So, and he's got the greatest baseball name ever. Ted Williams. Teddy Ballgame.
Okay, thank you. Fernando, would you like to say anything? Okay, well, it is 8:08. Meeting adjourned.